Hello, welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.6, The Abyss. We are back.
Welcome back.
You wait to start the recording every time.
Yeah. Hello. Sorry, I had to burp. Are you ready for
I
this?
am.
Day 2. So, Ruth said awkwardly, you live here? Like this? Damn, bitch. Hazley had made her home on a hill in the ruins of Ward 8, in a building that seemed to have been an observation post once upon a time. The small unit was wrapped with string lights from the outside, making it a dim, multicolored beacon in the darkness of the empty ward. Inside, the place was a mess of scavenged weapons and supplies. To be honest, more than being a place to live, it seemed more like Hazley had laid everything out so that, no matter where she was, she could reach out and grab a weapon to defend herself instantly. The girl shrugged lightly as she emerged from another room. She'd shed her tortoise-like outer armor, but still wore a lighter suit underneath. 2 swords were strapped to her hips, and it was a pretty safe bet she had another concealed weapon, too. As an ordinary human in a world of hostile Aether users, Ruth guessed she couldn't be too careful. There are worse places to be, she said quietly, and worse places to live. Ruth frowned, her eyes flicking over to the pitch-black window. Worse than this? The other wards, Hazley replied, sitting cross-legged across from her guest. They don't understand anything. They just believe whatever Pandershi tells them, and do whatever he says. They're like his pets. I'd rather live here in the dark than under his lights. And you're here all alone? Ruth asked gently. Sure, Hazley said, setting her lantern down on the table. It's not so bad. There are loads of rations left behind. I'll go decades without starving. But doesn't it get lonely? Hazley's resolute gaze wavered for just a moment. I guess I can see why you'd think that. I don't have time for that stuff, though. I've got a mission. Yeah, this kid had mentioned that on their way here, hadn't she? I want you to help me kill Zephyr Pandershi. How come you want to kill this Pandershi guy anyway? Ruth asked. Hazley's eyes widened. You don't? He seems like an ass, so I'd love to beat him up. Ruth shrugged. But he ain't at the top of my list. An idea occurred, then, looking at the darkness in Hazley's gaze and the darkness in the window. It was obvious, really. Ruth was just as stupid as ever, failing to put 2 and 2 together. Was Pandershi the one who did this? Ruth asked. Hazley paused. She'd been digging around in a box of rations. The biscuit she'd plucked from the container froze halfway to her mouth. She squeezed her eyes shut. He made it happen, she whispered, as if the words themselves were painful. Ruth nodded. Okay, I get you. You don't need to say any more. I know how it feels. Between you and me, though, I think you're going to have to get in line to take out Pandershi. He just betrayed all his allies. I bet they're already on their way to get his ass. Supremacy, too, probably. Hazley blinked as she chewed on the biscuit. What's the supremacy? She asked, cocking her head. It was Ruth's turn to freeze. Suddenly, the girl sitting before her was not a girl. She was an alien creature, one that had just asked her what the sky was. It was that bad here. It was really that bad here. They didn't even know this stuff. This is how it feels when someone mentions a movie and you're like, I haven't seen that. The supremacy had been a shadow over Ruth's life since her very first memories. She'd fought it in one way or another ever since she learned what fighting was, and this girl had never even heard the name before. She'd never even heard the name before, and yet she wasn't any happier than Ruth. This is like, there was a poll a while back on, like, opinions on Trump, and it was like 0.1% doesn't know who he is. Those people living in, like, bliss in the mountains or whatever. Ruth swallowed. It tasted like acid. It's the biggest empire in the galaxy, she said hesitantly. Do you know what the UAP... Do you know that the UAP is at war? The supremacy is who they're at war with. Hazley shifted awkwardly. She looked away, embarrassed. She'd read the atmosphere. She didn't know the extent of it, but she'd clearly realized that this was stuff Ruth would expect anyone to know. What's the UAP? Hazley mumbled. Are they the other nations that Pandershi works with? Ruth mutely nodded. We don't hear about the outside too much, Hazley explained, scratching her cheek. When we do, it's really vague. I know there's a black market in Ward 6 where they have other transmissions and stuff, but even then, and I've never been there, so, you know. Her justifications descended into mumblings, and eager for an escape hatch from the conversation, she looked over to Ruth's side. Is your friend okay?" she asked. Ruth looked over her shoulder. Rayanj Patel was still unconscious. They'd laid him down on a makeshift bed on the floor, and now he just lay there, twitching every now and then. His skin was coated with a cold sweat, and his lips moved wordlessly. It looked to Ruth like he was in the middle of a bad dream, but they hadn't been able to wake him up no matter how hard they tried. Whatever Pandershi had done to him, Ruth guessed it must have been really bad. "He's not my friend," she replied. Hazley blinked. "Your enemy?" "At one point," Ruth said. "Right now, though, he's just some guy. I broke him out of some transport, but I thought he was someone else. I'm not sure what's going on with him." Hazley's eyes ran over the ports implanted across Patel's body, where those tubes had been running into. "Pandershi must have been using him for experiments. He does that. Sorry, but he's probably a goner. I guess it's a good thing he's not your friend." "You've seen this before?" Ruth asked. "Not exactly like this. Usually they don't keep their shape as much, but it's the same sort of thing. If I were you, I'd probably put him down." Hazley threw out that ruthless idea like it was completely normal, barely even blinking. Ruth opened her mouth to protest, but then thought better of it. She didn't know what this kid had seen. Instead, she said, "If he asks me to, I'll do it. But I'm not doing anything until he wakes up." "What if he doesn't wake up?" Ruth took a deep breath, but said nothing. That was a bridge they'd cross when they came to it. In the meantime, she had to figure out her next move. If Muzazi hadn't been captured, she'd have to link back up with him, for one. And then she'd have to explain the crazy shit going on with the multiple Dragons. She was just turning back towards Hazley, the track of her mind changing, when she saw it. Something was moving underneath Patel's skin. Lumps were swimming under his body, squirming and writhing, like his flesh was keen to escape the confines of the epidermis. Ruth stared, as did Hazley, as the shifting accelerated, until it looked like Patel's skin was bubbling. Said Ruth, rising to her feet, and the instant she did, it happened. Rayanj Patel opened his mouth. "Oh, this brings me back to our SCP days. Which one do you want to be?"
I'll be Patel.
Alright, I'll be Man. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
What voice should Man have?
He's kind of like this. He's a youngish guy. He's like cheerful in that way. He's a little bit shady.
I see. And who's doing the intro bit?
You can do that if you want.
Exterior, Paraspera Hill. Our scene opens on the path up to the house on Payanpana Hill, Paraspara Hill, where a figure can be distantly seen walking towards us. We zoom in and see who it is. Rayanj Patel, a young boy of 12, on his way back from school. His hair is tied back into a loose ponytail, and he's carrying his school supplies in a heavy backpack. The camera turns and we see his destination, the house where he lives with his father and younger brothers at the top of Paraspara Hill. It's a place that was clearly once nice, high class for this planet, but has been neglected over the years until it's on the very edge of disrepair. Rayanj stops. The camera cuts to the front porch of the house, where a man in a suit is sitting, polishing his shoe with a handkerchief. We see Rayanj's brow furrow, his expression becoming more tense. This is not a man he knows. It's too late for him to just leave, though. The man looks up from his shoe and offers a friendly wave. "Oh, hey there. Sorry, I didn't realize anyone would be back so soon. You're not helping with the parade?" Slowly, Rayanj shakes his head. "It's just you? Where are your brothers?" Rayanj says nothing. He smiles. "Oh, come on now. I'm not suspicious. I know your dad. Durga, right? Well, I bet you just call him Dad, though, right? It's the same with my kids." Rayanj relaxes slightly at the man's words.
"You're a friend of my dad?"
"I know him, yeah. Where are your brothers at? Are they helping with the parade?"
"Yeah."
He smiles. "Yep. Well, that's probably for the best."
"What do you mean?"
"How about we sit and talk for a minute?" Rayanj shuffles uncomfortably.
I should go inside. My dad is...
"Oh, come on. He's not going anywhere. I want to reconnect to my youth a little. It wasn't so long ago that I was a kid myself, you know? Indulge me." After a second, Rayanj sits down on the porch next to the man. "There's a trooper. Oh, there's a trooper. You smoke?" Rayanj shakes his head. He smiles. "That's the right answer. I'm a money person. Did you know that? Your dad ever talk to you about money people?" Rayanj shakes his head again. "Now that's a good father. It's best to keep the young away from money as long as you can. Don't worry, though. I'm not a bad guy or anything. I just let people borrow money when they need it, and they give it back once they don't need it anymore. Understand?"
Yeah?
Yeah, of course you do. What am I even talking about? You're not 5. You get how money works. The thing about what I do, though, is I've got to trust the people I give my precious money to, you know? They could just run off and never give it back. The longer it takes for someone to give it back, the more I worry it's not going to happen. Makes it hard for me to sleep sometimes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, aren't you a sweet kid? You don't need to apologize. It's not your fault. You any good with a mop?
I guess.
He smiles. You guess. I like that. You don't pretend that you're something you're not. That's called integrity, you know? I feel like you might be a trustworthy kid. You think that's true?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. So, how about this? He holds out a business card. We cut to a full shot of it, extended to Rayange. It has a name and a script number. You take a couple of days, and then you call me here, okay? And we'll figure something out. We see Rayange's unsteady hands accept the card. He looks up to the man, confused.
Figure what out?
Just a couple of days, okay? The man stands up and leaves without saying another word. We see his figure slowly fade as he descends the hill. Frowning, Rayange gets up and puts the card in his pocket. He turns around and goes inside.
That?
Oh, that's all you, Bubby.
No. That's narration.
Oh, come on. It's under Rayange's
No,
bubble.
it's not narration.
You're such a slut.
Jesus!
We see his dad. We see his
I'm
dad
going to
on the
bleep
floor.
that, sorry.
We see his dad on the table. We see his dad on the counter. We see his dad on the couch. We see his dad on the wall.
Dad?
We see his dad in all of these places. Blood drips down.
Screams, 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 screams. He smiles.
And Rayange Patel screamed. Darkness burst out from under his skin, flashes of black that reduced the house around them to rubble instantly. Black branching tendrils like veins, writhing out of Rayange's body and striking with a will of their own, smashing and seizing and crushing and twisting everything within their reach. The naked eye could never have even seen the form they took. Such was their speed. But Ruth Blaine's Aether infusion allowed her to truly bear witness. That was how she could see as one tendril, sprouting from under Rayange's rolled-back eyeball, lashed towards Hazley with strength and speed enough to send her head flying off. At such proximity, at such speed, there was nothing Ruth could do. In the second it would take to dawn a set to react, Hazley would lose her life. In her heart of hearts, perhaps Ruth Blaine prepared herself for that. Perhaps she grit her teeth, bracing herself for the sight of another innocent death. There was no need, though. With a screech of metal, Hazley drew her 2 swords, and, wielding them backhand, she sliced the black tendril apart just before it reached her face. This was no feat of Aether. The scroll was an ordinary human being. This had been a miracle born of reflex alone. Miracles wouldn't happen twice in a row, though. As 3 more tendrils slithered towards Hazley, Ruth launched herself towards the girl, grabbing her and Monarch set, encasing the both of them in a protective shell. A swing of the black tendrils coiled together into a makeshift limb sent the hell egg flying through the rubble of the house and into the skeletal forest beyond. A flap... It's very funny you use the word hell egg.
It was intentional.
Aww. A flap of Monarch's crimson wings sent it soaring up into the air once again, the crackling of crimson aether making it the closest thing the sealed space had to his sun. From within the Monarch yolk, Ruth watched in horror. More and more tendrils were coming out of Patel's body, some of them balancing on the floor like spider legs and lifting him high into the air. His face was twitching madly, his eyes rolling up into their sockets, his mouth nearly foaming. Whatever this was, Rayange Patel was simply along for the ride. He was a puppet with its strings going wild. Wrong its, buddy.
Sorry.
It's okay. What's happening? Hazley flailed in the yoke behind her, taken aback by the Monarch set, by the absurdity Aether was capable of. What is this? Ruth ignored her. Right now, the entirety of her focus was on Patel, on what she knew she would have to do now. No matter how monstrous and numerous those tendrils were, Ruth knew now they held not a spark of Aether. Monarch would make short work of them. With a threat like this presented, it was Ruth's job to do as Hazley had suggested, to put Patel down. This wasn't like Lily, she told herself. She barely knew Patel, and they never could have been called friends. But, damn it, Ruth thought. It feels like Lily. She couldn't let him go on a rampage, and the way he was now, there was no way for her to talk him down. With that dark resolve in his chest, I assume her chest,
Yes,
Ruth began building Monarch's
Ruth.
energy to a single point on its shell. A single blast directly to Patel's head would surely seal the deal. Ruth braced herself. Sorry, man, and found her sin interrupted. Aquarius Covenant! There was a flash of bright blue aether, illuminating the air all around Patel's ascending form, and from that aether an endless school of translucent fish began to flow. Why is it ocean-themed? Is this why of the ocean?
In the Superbian canon, a worm refers to a dolphin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was worm like dragon.
Yeah, well, that's their idea of a dragon in that part of the church.
That's very funny. Ruth allowed the crimson light that had been about to eliminate Ranch Patel fade away as she watched in awe. This was an aether ability, no doubt, but whose? Wait, that color. As one, the fish flowed into Patel's body, and, as if each one was packed with anesthetic, his body began to slump and turn limp. Oh my god, is it eating all the bugs inside him?
No, it's just like anesthetizing him.
Oh. He swayed unconscious in the air, held aloft only, I assume, by the whole black tendrils that squirmed out of his body. Even they had slowed down until they were more like the waving branches of a tree. Just as Ruth was about to concentrate her fire on those, she was beaten to the punch. A toy Muzazi appeared. The maneuver he executed was nearly identical to the one Hazley had done, but bolstered by aether and strength, it was far more effective. The dark tendrils were shredded apart in an instant, slowly coming down like black snow, and Ranch thudded down to the ground like a sack of potatoes. Ruth heard Hazley take a sharp gasp behind her. Thrusters blazing from the soles of his feet, Muzazi broke his fall and skidded to a halt on the ground. Ruth's eyes weren't on him, though. Her attention was fixed squarely on the companion he'd arrived with. There, standing next to him, was another Dragonhadrian. The two of them looked up towards the flying monarch set. "There's a great deal to explain," said Muzazi. Oh, hell yes.
Hell
Will you
yes.
stare into the abyss? What do you see? What do you see up there?
All sorts of stuff.
Oh. Rurum asks, as an application of science, technology, aether, what does Zephyr Pandershi think of the Hive of Malkuth?
1 second, sorry.
Oh, little Tanhoney. Precious Tanhoney, where has he gone?
So what does he think of the Hive of Malkuth? He likes it, and he thinks it's very useful, and he's happy that things worked out, that Maxim was able to join him as a result of them.
Hell yeah. Lan asks, does the commissioner have to personally approve every new special officer?
To some degree, whether that's just like stamping a paper that gets put in front of them, or like going like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. But there's some sort of token approval, yeah.
Okay. Stift asks, Wisdom's attack dog, the third to fall to the corruption of the Eon, 16.20. Question, is Eon just time in this context, or is the Eon something specific?
It's time.
If it is, what is it?
It is time, the passage of time.
Rockshark asks, how did Mariloko survive an entire hour against the tower without shedding blood? Could the tower really not adapt against his abilities?
He truly is built differently, and it was adapting to him, but he was also changing his tactics up as he fought.
Beautiful. Alright, I think we'll cut it there for now, since we still have 2 more to record tomorrow. Thank you all for watching, and hey, maybe we'll even see you again next time.
Bye!
Bye!